you love classic cars, then Donald loves you.
There's nothing more American than a big pickup truck, and nothing more American than a big engine. And what I'm driving right now is both. It's a big American pickup truck, a Dodge 1500 Ram with a big engine, a V10 Viper engine. This is a 2005 Dodge SRT10. And it's something incredibly ridiculous and yet sort of wonderful at the same time. Dodge first showed a concept truck with a Viper engine years before they produced this, and it wasn't produced, but everybody thought it was a ridiculous idea, so they decided they had to do it. So they came out with this truck a few years later with the third generation Viper engine, 8.3 liter V10. This one putting out 525 horsepower and 500 foot-pounds of torque. This is a quad cam model, so the nice big full-size four-door, six-passenger cab truck that can do the quarter mile in 13.6 seconds at 100 miles per hour. It's astonishing to think what the average American farmer in 1950 would have made of the idea of a truck with as much power as a race car. But that's exactly what we've got here. And it also retains its load capacity. Now, of course, that load capacity is not quite going to be used in the same way because it's got a hard cover on the rear deck. But nonetheless, you could take this 525 horsepower and drive yourself down to the Home Depot or to any other big box store and load it up with lumber and come back and do your project, build your deck, or not. What is interesting about a car like this, a truck, you see, that's another thing. The categories have gotten so blurred today that I'm driving this vehicle, which is a truck, but I just refer to it as a car. And that's because it doesn't feel like a truck, but it's certainly not a car. I'm reminded of that even though when I press down the throttle, I get that incredible power, just like you would in any Mopar high-performance product of this age. But dynamically, this is still a truck. Now, they sent this truck to the wind tunnel to tune the rear spoiler on the back of the bed, and also to style the front bumper and spoiler. I suppose that adds a bit of directional stability to this vehicle, but it's still a bit, on these giant wheels and tires, it's still a bit tippy-toe. And you have to be very, very, very aware of how you use this power, because although it is a Ram and not a Viper, this is a Ram with the bite of a Viper. And I think that this truck would bite you faster than you could possibly imagine if you treat it in the wrong way. Remember that it's a truck, and it's something that is a lot of fun and really quite interesting. Forget it's a truck for a minute, and you'll be in deep trouble. Now, having said that, it is a modern pickup truck, so it's comfortable, it rides well, it's quiet, but it's also a high-performance vehicle, so it's got just a bit of dartiness around the edges. It's not really designed to turn corners very quickly. It's designed to go really fast in a straight line, and of course to stop very well. It's got great brakes. But you have to remember all the time what it is you're driving and why. It's interesting being inside this Ram SRT10 because of the different cues that it's giving you. The white-faced dials scream Mopar performance. The vast seat scream, take me to the feed store. I find really curious this one little lonely extra gauge up here in the corner for oil temperature. Why they decided that oil temperature was so important, I'm not quite sure, but it's an interesting thing to have nonetheless. What's my verdict on this? It's certainly not a Viper. A Viper is quite honest in what it is and what it delivers. And it's certainly not your grandfather's pickup truck. So what exactly is it? It's something that I think would be really neat to pick up your friends at the airport in, or I'm not quite sure. Perhaps this, much like the Ford F-150 Lightning or some of the other Chevrolet and GMC high-performance trucks, may be the answer to a question that no one actually asked. But maybe I'm just not looking in the right place. I don't know.